Welcome to The Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a topic that's moving, well, incredibly fast and raising some really big questions about, where humanity is headed. Artificial intelligence.
Yeah, it's definitely everywhere now.
Exactly. You've probably seen AI in the news, maybe used tools like ChatGPT, but our mission here isn't just to scratch the surface.
No, we want to go deeper.
Right. We're going to dive into the whole trajectory of AI. Think tracing it from the very beginning, the early sparks, all the way to these, frankly, mind-bending ideas like artificial general intelligence, AGI, and even superintelligence.
It's a huge landscape to cover.
It is. But think of this as your way to get a really solid, insightful handle on a technology that seems poised to reshape, well, pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And hopefully without drowning in all the technical jargon.
Yeah, cut through the noise a bit.
So let's get into it.
It's fascinating, really, because when we talk about AI, we're sort of holding up a mirror to ourselves, aren't we? To our own intelligence.
Also.
Well, what made humans the dominant species on Earth?
Yeah.
Fundamentally, it was our intelligence, our ability to think, learn, solve problems.
Okay.
And AI is basically our attempt to understand that, replicate it, and maybe even surpass it.
Right. And I think to really grasp where AI could go, we probably need to look back at how intelligent, our intelligence even developed.
Absolutely. Essential context. Human intelligence, as it stands, is the peak on this planet.
We define it by what? Our ability to learn, reason, pick up knowledge and skills, and then use all that to solve problems. Right?
Precisely. And it's that ability that let us, as one source put it, break the game of nature, gain control.
Break the game of nature. That sounds dramatic. What does that actually mean in practice?
It just means we weren't bound purely by biology and environment in the same way other animals are. We didn't just adapt to our surroundings, we started changing them.
Like building shelters, farming.
Exactly. We had to cause and effect, planned ahead, work together in huge groups. We basically rewrote the survival rules for ourselves.
Okay, that makes sense. And it wasn't like flipping a switch, was it? This took a long, long time.
Oh, incredibly long.
Yeah.
For most of evolutionary history, big brains were just too costly. They burned so much energy.
Right.
It was only when specific pressures and opportunities came along that, investing in more complex brains started to pay off for certain groups. Birds, octopuses, mammals.
What kind of payoffs?
Things like better navigation to find food or complex communication for social living. That made the energy cost worthwhile.
Got it. But then with hominins, maybe 7 million years ago, something shifted.
Yeah, things got interesting. Their brains started growing faster than other primates. And it seems like their intelligence wasn't just narrow.
Focused on one or two things.
Right. It started becoming more flexible, more general purpose, like a toolkit for different problems.
Okay, so less specialized, more adaptable.
Exactly. And fast forward to about 2 million years ago, Homo erectus, they really started interacting with the world differently. Not just reacting, but trying to understand and, manipulate it.
Like controlling fire, making the tools.
Yes. And developing early culture. That's all evidence of this broader, more general intelligence kicking in. And then, maybe 250,000 years ago, Homo sapiens arrive. Even bigger, more complex brains.
And that was the real step change.
It seems like it. That larger brain allowed for incredible collaboration, communicating really complex, abstract stuff. And that's when progress just exploded.
Because we could build on each other's knowledge.
Precisely. Accumulating knowledge, passing it down, agriculture, writing, science, the internet. It let us advance way faster than evolution alone ever could.
So a long, slow climb, then a sudden acceleration once we hit a certain point.
Pretty good summary. And now here we are trying to create something that might climb that ladder much, much faster.
Which brings us to artificial intelligence itself, the dawn of AI.
Okay, so AI. At its core, it's software doing mental tasks, using computers, silicon, not neurons.
And the early days, back in the 60s, pretty basic stuff.
Very basic. Think early chatbots, simple programs for very specific things, like sorting molecules. They were extremely narrow, specialized. You needed to be an expert to even use them.
Like the flatworms of AI, as one source called them.
Huh. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Very simple processing.
But AI development wasn't smooth sailing, right? There were ups and downs, AI winters.
That's right. Progress stalled sometimes. Funding dried up when big promises weren't met. But then, like an evolution, changing conditions helped. Computers got way faster, programming got easier.
So that spurred new progress.
Definitely. Between the 50s and the 2000s, you had milestones like AI navigating a simple room in '72, reading handwritten numbers by '89. Still felt like tools, though. Fancy tools, but tools.
Until 1997, Deep Blue versus Kasparov, chess.
Ah, yes. The big one. That really shifted perceptions. A machine beat the world chess champion.
Showing AI could surpass humans, at least in something specific.
Absolutely. But, like our source points out, Deep Blue was still incredibly narrow. It was like a super specialized bee, brilliant at chess, useless at anything else, couldn't play Go, couldn't write a poem.
But in chess, it was clear humans were unlikely to ever consistently win again.
Pretty much. And as computing power kept soaring, AI started popping up elsewhere, guiding Mars rovers in 2004, YouTube recommendations by 2011.
But these still needed humans to set up the problem, right? To break it down into steps the AI could handle.
Crucially, yes. Humans were still very much in the loop, defining the task in detail.
So when did that change? When did AI start learning on its own?
That was the next big leap, fueled by, well, two things mainly. Ridiculously powerful supercomputers and just unbelievable amounts of data from the internet, from everything.
And this led to neural networks, machine learning.
Exactly. Neural networks are like these webs of artificial neurons. They start out bad at a task, but through techniques called machine learning, they train themselves. They spot patterns, make predictions, even tweak their own code to get better.
And this is where the black box idea comes in. We don't always know how they're doing it.
Often, yeah. We set up the structure, feed it data, see the output get better and better, but the exact reasoning, the connections it forms, it can be opaque, even to the creators.
A bit mysterious.
A little, yeah. But the results were undeniable. Facebook's face recognition got incredibly good around 2014. Then AlphaGo beating the world's best Go players in 2016, that was huge. Go is way more complex than chess.
I remember that. It felt like a major step.
It was. And then in 2018, an AI taught itself chess just by playing itself for a few hours and crushed specialized chess programs. Still narrow tasks, but the way they learned was revolutionary.
Which brings us closer to the present, ChatGPT. That felt different again, didn't it?
It did feel different, I think because it was trained on such a massive, diverse data set, just text from all over the internet.
So it learned language really, really well.
Astonishingly well. Summarizing things, translating, helping with math.
Yeah.
Its abilities felt much broader than those older single-task AIs.
Right. And now every big tech company is pouring money into building their own versions, right?
Massive investment. It's a full-on race. And you're seeing the impact already. Customer service, healthcare, marketing, creative work, AI-generated content is everywhere.
But this speed also brings up worries. Misinformation, for one.
A huge concern. And also, what happens to jobs? How do economies adjust when AI can do so much cognitive work?
Big questions. And it's important to remember, even ChatGPT, impressive as it is, it's still considered narrow AI, right? It doesn't understand things like a human does.
Exactly. It's incredibly sophisticated pattern matching and generation, but true understanding, consciousness,
Yeah.
that's not there. Which leads us to the next big idea.
Artificial general intelligence, AGI.
Right. So human intelligence is general. We can learn lots of different things, tackle varied problems. We have broad capability.
Whereas current AI is specialized, good at one thing or maybe a few related things.
Correct. So the pivotal question becomes, what if AI does achieve that general level? What if we create AGI?
And if AI keeps improving at its current rate, could AGI potentially beat humans at, well, most things? Or even everything?
It's certainly conceivable. We don't know exactly how to build it yet or what it'll look like, but the possibility is there. If narrow AI can master specific tasks so quickly, maybe AGI could master a whole range.
And it wouldn't have our biological limits, speed, for instance.
Exactly. AGI could potentially think vastly faster, and you could copy it. Imagine millions of AGIs.
Oh, okay, pause there. Millions of AGIs, maybe thinking 10 times faster than a human working on problems.
Yeah, one source used the example of science. Imagine 1 million brilliant researchers working 24/7, no breaks, no distractions, just focused on solving cancer or climate change or fundamental physics.
The potential upside seems enormous.
It does. But then think about the economy again. If AGI can do most knowledge work better, faster, cheaper, what happens to human jobs? Legal work, coding, writing, analysis.
And who controls it if one company or country gets there first?
Huge questions about power and inequality. The potential for good is immense, solving diseases, clean energy, understanding the universe.
Not the flip side.
The flip side is also there. Could AGI be weaponized? Smarter drones? Targeted bioweapons? Could it create perfectly manipulative propaganda or disinformation online?
Scary possibilities. Creating AGI really could be like discovering fire or electricity, maybe a fundamental shift for civilization.
Potentially even bigger, which leads to an even more speculative, almost sci-fi concept.
Superintelligence, the intelligence explosion. Okay, break that down.
So the core idea is this.
Yeah.
Once you have an AI that's smart enough, maybe human-level AGI, it could start working on improving itself.
AI designing better AI.
Exactly. Since it's software, it could rewrite its own code, improve its own algorithms, potentially much faster than humans could. This creates a feedback loop.
Smarter AI makes even smarter AI, which makes even smarter AI.
Right. A runaway process,
Yeah.
an intelligence explosion,
Yeah.
leading to, well, superintelligence.
And the timeline, when could this happen?
That's pure speculation. Could be months after AGI. Could be years, decades.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows, if it happens at all, of course.
But the end result, superintelligence, what would that even be like?
Honestly, probably beyond our ability to truly comprehend. The gap might be like us compared to a squirrel, as one source put it. We might just lack the mental framework to grasp its thoughts, its goals.
And that's unnerving. Thinking about how humans have historically treated beings we consider less intelligent.
It raises profound ethical questions, for sure. What would its view of us be? Would we even be relevant?
One source called AGI potentially humanity's final invention, leading to utopia or something else.
Yeah, the stakes feel incredibly high. And if we pull back from the speculation to right now,
The race is on.
definitely. Big companies, research labs, they're all pushing hard, developing more powerful AI systems. Whether that's better narrow AI or chasing the AGI dream, we are actively building this future.
So wrapping this up, we've gone from the simple beginnings of AI, almost like digital flatworms, to today's powerful narrow systems like ChatGPT, and looked ahead to the possibility, however uncertain, of AGI and even superintelligence.
It's an incredible trajectory, especially how fast it's happened compared to the millions of years of biological evolution for human intelligence.
Which leaves us, and you listening, with a pretty heavy final thought to chew on.
Given how fast technology, especially AI, seems to be accelerating, what happens next? What are the consequences we haven't even thought of yet?
Yeah, as we keep pushing for smarter and smarter machines, how do we prepare, as individuals, as societies, for a future shaped by intelligence that might one day vastly outstrip our own in ways we can barely conceive? Something to think about.